tell me about maybe a common Vietnamese breakfast, so something like typical. So what do you normally eat for breakfast, except pho? Because I know this food because I've heard about it. That's delicious, and normally people in Vietnam eat it for breakfast. So tell me if you have any other typical breakfast.
I think it's bánh mì.
So it's kind of noodle, again, something like
It's like bread, Vietnamese bread.
of course, Vietnamese bread. So how about something like milk and honey and something like this jam? So sweet, maybe food or something like this. No?
Um, I think it's we usually eat with fried egg,
Uh,
and like sometimes you got like special meat, I think, and with a little bit of like cucumber, just like
uh,
cilantro. Yeah,
uh, I got
so
it. So
vibe together.
it's definitely different from actually our breakfast. But I think, I heard about this food, pho. Of course, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing correctly or say or no. So it's pho, right?
Yeah.
So is it delicious, really delicious? Because most of my students, when I ask them, for example, what do you normally have for breakfast, they said favorite and the best one. So what do you think about it? It's really delicious.
Well, I'm not really into pho, but like if you like sometimes you eat it, it's okay. But like
Ah,
my friends, like eats it like every week, so I think it's like some some people will like really like the flavor,
ah,
the like the noodles soup. Yeah.
yeah, of course. And it's salty, right?
Yeah.
Ah, got it. So that's interesting. Well, okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing information with me. Okay, well, let's get started. Let me share my screen so that you can see the board. Okay, well, so as I remember, we're going to start with writing section. So urban and rural life and writing. Okay, first of all, so let's have a look at these graphs. Of course, you know, uh, graph or line graph, so we call it graph or line graph, won't be like this in this way in IELTS test, you notice, because it's just, only sample, something like to introduce and to talk about it, to describe line graph. So we know that we have different graphs and charts in IELTS task one, especially, I'm talking about academic test. So that is line graph, bar chart, or for example, pie chart, table, map, process. Okay, so now we're going to talk about line graph, how to write about it. Okay, may I ask you to talk about line graph, to tell me the structure of an essay about line graph briefly. So if you know, for example, how do you write it? If you have a line graph, of course, I'm talking about multiple lines. And if you're going to write an essay on your line graph, how you write it, what structure do you follow to write about it?
I think it's first you need the introduction and then like the overview of the line graph, and you're gonna talk about like the highest line graph and also the lowest. And yeah.
Well, great. So of course, so it's gonna be like, yeah, of course, in this way, like, first of all, you have your introduction, and you know that, your introduction, that is the paraphrase of your question. So that's really important to paraphrase your question correctly using appropriate words, synonyms, definition. And after that, you have overview. And you know that the most important part of your writing would be your overview, because it's really important and it can actually, boost your score. So it's something like that's really important. The first of all, but most of candidates make mistake about writing it. So because normally people give more details, lots of details in overview that is not essential, so we don't need it. So it's something like, as you said, the highest, maybe the lowest, or the most, the least, okay, or something like this. So we talk about something like the most important, maybe the significant changes, without figures, without numbers, and just this. So we have 4 paragraphs, at least 150 words in task 1. I think that's really easy, because if you know the structure, that's really easy to write about them. But now here we're gonna get familiar with some words maybe and phrases in order to use for writing in your essay, so that it will be easy to actually write about line graph. So let's get started from the first part. As you can see, we have the verbs grow, and of course, adverb rapidly. Do you know the meaning of rapidly? Do you know?
Well, no, I don't know how to explain it.
Of course, so let me help you. So that's really important to know the synonyms, because as you know, we can put it in, if we divide actually our adverbs into 2 categories, 2 groups, increase and decrease. Rapidly goes to increase category and means quickly. So quickly. This is the meaning of rapidly. Grow quickly, okay, rapidly. So when we talk about maybe a quick change, we can use this adverb, and you know that adverbs are really important writing task 1, how to use them. And of course the verb, I will teach you different verbs that you can use. So because normally people use, candidate use increase, decrease, fall, and rise, just 4 verbs, but we have different alternatives that can be used instead of increase, decrease. Okay, well, so quickly or immediately, the meaning of rapidly. And now we're going to complete this sentences, okay, using the verb grow and adverb rapidly, and describe the information in the graphs. Okay, just we need to pay attention to the beginning period of time, okay, or time phrases. So, well, just, we're going to actually, the purpose of having this task is to use correct verb tense. Okay, so let's get started. For example, since 5 years ago, because of since, you know that we need to use present perfect, so sales have grown rapidly to 90,000. Okay, the next one, can you guess?
Between 1980 and 1990.
Yeah.
The sales grow rapidly.
Okay, very good. Between 1980 and 1990. Okay, of course, this is past completed action, so it's better to use past simple. So between 1980 and 1990, sales grew rapidly to 90,000. Okay, so that is grew. And the third one? Will is good. Will grow is good, but I think we have different alternatives here that we can use. So how about using, let me write, instead of will is definitely right, correct, so usable, you can use it. But if I were you, I would say from 2020 to 2030 sales are
Going. Oh.
predicted to, so this one is good, or are expected to grow. Of course, the verb is grow because of to, base form. So are predicted to or are expected to. So both of them, because we are talking about, future, it's something that we can make a guess. So something that we can predict. And passive, so are predicted or are expected, both of them, and will, as you said. So we have three alternatives here. So in this situation, you can use are predicted or expected to, so it's okay. And the next one, number 4.
Had been grown.
Had is okay, but not been. We don't need to use had been and passive here, just had grown is good. Of course, this is past perfect because we are talking about the period of time in action before, not the past time in the past. So before, before 2000, of course, had grown. That's great, had grown, but had been no. Okay, and by the year 2020, we're gonna talk about a period of time in the future, by actually time in the future. So
will have.
Of course, will have grown. Will have grown. Yeah. Future perfect. So that one is the best one. And after that, after all this, actually, tenses we need to use rapidly. So this one. Okay, so as you can see, we have different tenses that can be used to write our essay, but something that really important is to pay careful attention to the actually access, especially time, in order to choose the best one. So what time we need to, as you know, if we choose and if we use the wrong time tense, of course, we'll lose our score. So that's really important to pay careful attention to the period of time and time tense. Okay, well, here, verb, adverb, and time phrase. So as you can see, we have some adverbs and some verbs. So increase, decrease, fall, rise, climb, and drop. Okay, and now we're gonna make correct sentences using verbs and adverbs, okay, and time phrases. So we're gonna make them in order to actually make some statements, logical statements. So let's get started. As you can see, just let's talk about them. Increase, rise, climb, synonyms. Decrease, fall, drop. Again, synonyms. Adverbs, dramatically, slowly, sharply, consistently, gradually, steadily. Gradually, steadily. No big change. Gradual change. Stable change. Consistently and sharply and dramatically. Sharply and dramatically. We normally use it for quick, big. Slowly, okay, something like no change, no big change. Okay, well, let's do this work. So let's get started. Okay, well, what do you think? So just make some sentences. For example, by the year 2000, it had increased slowly to 90%. So it's your choice. Just try to make a few sentences, just this.
From 1995 to 2000, it increased gradually.
It increased from, yeah, of course, yeah, from 1995 to 2000, yeah, it increased. Okay, and another one, just 2 or 3 in order to check time tenses to just this.
By the years 2000, it had fall sharply.
Yeah, just, it had, if you want to use past perfect, it's okay, just fallen, past participle. So that's really important, yeah. Fallen. And of course, let me say something. You can use the adjective form of these adverbs and noun. For example, fall, rise, increase, decrease. They can be used as noun, For example, we can say, by 2000, okay, it had, for example, sharp fall. So it's okay. But, in this situation, you need to use noun and adjective. Here we have verb and adverb, so we need to change it to past participle if we want to use past perfect. Okay, the next one more.
Since 2016, it climbs steadily.
Yeah, of course. Okay, very good. Well, so as you can see, so consistently, gradually, steadily, okay, slowly, one group, dramatically and sharply, and of course something like quickly, they are another. So when we say consistently, gradually, steadily, we actually mean no big change, something like stable process. So when we say dramatically or sharply, it's something like quick or big change. So I will discuss them later in detail. So here we have task 1, of course, task achievement. You know this. There are some points that you need to consider. Of course, as you can see, we have some mistakes here. So in order to actually prevent you from getting a high score, and you know them. For example, the most important overview. So not including, that's, notice, that's really, and misreporting. It means, normally candidates don't understand the question, what to talk about, and they give some wrong information, something like not related, appropriate one. So of course they will, it's something like it will prevent them from getting high score. And key information, trends, that's really important to be discussed, and enough word limit we need to consider, and time tense, that's really important. And there is something about summary or concluding. What is this? We don't have summary in task 1. So what is the summary? Of course, we don't have the summary as something that we describe for task 2. Of course, we don't have, but as something like that, you can summarize your main features. You can, if you give enough, actually, maybe information, your overview, of course, it's not essential to repeat it again, but if you have enough room to write about it, means, okay, For example, I wrote about 100 words, so I have 50 words here, or for example, 150, I can add. So it's okay. You can summarize your information again, just, like maybe one line. Again, you can mention the main points, maybe the main features, last line. Just this. Okay, and there is a point here. Let me say something. We have 4 paragraphs, and you know that introduction, and after that, overview, main body 1, and main body 2. But sometimes it's okay if you change the structure to intro, main, overview. So it's kind of, in this form, we say that, okay, it's kind of like summary or, conclusion. So it's okay if you put your overview at the end of your essay, if you write it, so it's okay. So it's your choice. Of course, this is something like our default format that we write, but if you change it, it's okay. It's something like, a summary or conclusion at the end of your essay. Well, look, we have a line graph here, and line graph below shows the main reason people gave for moving away from particular capital city to the countryside. This is our title. Let me draw a straight line. It's not good. Okay. Well, so what should be paraphrased is actually the title, the topic, okay? And then we're going to summarize the information, okay? So, and if make comparison were relevant, it's really important to make comparison, because actually the base of having maybe more than one line is to make comparison. So we need to compare them, the highest, the lowest, if actually we have stable, maybe increase, decrease, or something like this. First of all, as you know, 2 axes, horizontal, vertical. So we need to pay attention to them. So why? Because we're going to write using. So that's really important to actually answer a few questions when writing. What information do the 2 axes give? What in time? And for example, here in this one, we have something like rising cost of living. So as you can see, main reasons people gave for moving away from particular capital city to the countryside. So first of all, that's really important to talk about actually 2 axes. What information do the 2 axes give? And the most important, what are the units and measurements? So that's really important. Time period should be discussed. And what can you learn from the title? So, and what is the most obvious trend? Are there any notable similarities so that you can mention? So there's some questions that you can make in your mind, then answer to write. Well, look here. We have actually a sample answer, but it wouldn't get a good score for task achievement. Why not? Would you read it and tell me why not?
I think it's the structure.
Okay. So here, the first one, let's begin from the actually here. The line graph illustrates the main reasons people gave for moving away from a capital city. Can you see a paraphrase? The only words that is changed is illustrate. Here we have show, and here in our introduction we have illustrate. So there is no paraphrase. So the first one. After that, we have the main reason was traffic, okay, in 1990. And, about overview, this is awful. There is no overview here. And if it's overview, we shouldn't give figures, numbers. And so it's not good. And I think, of course, I need to count the actual number of words, but I think it's less than 150 because we only have 3 paragraphs. So I think it's less than 150 words. And there is no overview here, so it's awful. I can say 4.5. Well, and now look, we have another sample, okay? The description from exercise 4 has been written, but there is still room for improvement. Read and think about how it could be improved, then match the teacher's comments. So we have comments A, B, C, and D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's read and match them. The first one, would you read the first one? And if it's possible, out loud so that I can hear.
The paragraph or the comment?
The first one, paragraph. After that, we'll discuss the comments.
The line graph set out the main motivation people expressed for relocating to the countryside from the city in years 1990, 2000, and 2010. The overall trend for the period is of an increase in the numbers moving away from the city. According to the graph, the main reason for relocation was the rising cost of living. In 1990, 65,000 people left the city because of this. Then 95,000 left in 2000, and then 90,000 people moved away in 2010. So it actually increased by 20,000 initially between 1990 and 2000, before going down by 5,000 in those last 10 years between 2000 and 2010. This drop of 5,000 could have been because people generally had less money in 2010 and than they did in 2000, so they couldn't afford to move. It was a different story.
So I'm sorry, so I interrupted you, but let's talk about this, the first one, because we can see them at the same time. So let's do the one by one. So the first one, the first paragraph. Okay, just initially means at first. Initially, at the beginning, or at first. So because we don't say firstly, in IELTS, as you know, IELTS writing should be formal. So we don't say at first. At first is okay. At first. So, or at the beginning. So both of them. What is this? Okay, so both of them. But initially is better. So, okay, so we read the first one, and now let's match. Which one can be the best comment for the first paragraph to improve it?
think it's 1C.
C. Better. Okay, so let's talk about this. The first one, A, don't speculate, don't guess. So the meaning of speculate means guess. What it means? You shouldn't suggest reasons. So it's not related to this one because there is no suggestion here. As you can see, the main reason, what can you see a lot? You know, it's something like numbers maybe. Can you see, you know, it's something like too much, you know?
Yeah.
Because most of paragraph, as you can see, it's something like this section is too mechanical. What it means? Simply listing the changes to a single category like this is something like, look, this and this and this. It's something like just I have some numbers and I put them one by one. It's not good. You know, of course, you need to highlight key figures. But, you know, it's better to highlight key figures, not everything, you know? It's something like I listed, you know, the candidate, of course, listed all figures, all trends, one by one. It's not essential. Too much. So it's too mechanical. It's something like, okay, I see this number, so let's write them from the beginning. So it's not good. The second one, this drop of 5,000 could have been because, could have been because. Do we express our opinion in
No.
task one? Definitely no. So which one can be matched to this one?
A.
Of course, yes. It's never, ever. So we don't do this. You don't say, okay, why? We don't know. And the third one, would you read it, please?
It was a different story for traffic and lifestyle. Both had the same number of CT lever at the start of the period. Subsequently, both categories saw increase, with traffic first going up by the large number between 1990 and 2000, and then even more steeply after that. Lifestyle lever rose constantly over the whole period, going up to 3,000 initially, then up again to 2010.
Okay, very good. So subsequently means afterward. Okay, so afterward, both categories saw increases. So which one, C or D?
Um, D.
Of course, very good. D, first of all, let me say something. As you know, what is this? What is this? Overall, so it's something like the section makes its points more clearly, but fails to include key data to demonstrate the point. So of course, it's something like it wants, but it can't. So, and the last one, as you can see, I'm sorry, what is it, this one? Okay, D, and the last one, this one, okay, this one, you
C.
have included, of course, a conclusion this time. As I told you, there is no conclusion here. And as I told you, we don't use these phrases for the last one. So 3D and 4C. Okay, so we know what to do, what not to do. Okay, in avoid to, you know, reduce, and it's something like get something like 5 or 6. So it's better not to make this mistakes, okay, to get better score. Well, and now Which partner of course discuss which option works best as summary or conclusion? We mean overview, summary or conclusion here. Which one can be the best one, you think?
A.
A is good, you think? And why?
Well, I think that it shows 3 main reasons why people left, and like the overall of the like rose significantly between the
Okay.
years. So yeah.
Okay. So can be, but as I said, people left the city for 3 main reasons. So let's check. For 3 main reasons, of course, we have 3 reasons here, but is it true necessarily? So it's something like maybe there are actually other reasons, but we don't know. Here we have 3 of them. So this conclusion says people left the city for 3 main reasons. Maybe it's not true. Maybe there are not main reasons. Just, there are some reasons. Okay, so it's something like, it's okay. We have 3 reasons here, but here, main reasons, okay, it's okay, but it's not really good. When you say they are 3 main reasons, it means there is no other reason. Maybe there is, we don't know. So it's something like, okay, I think it's not a good one. So I think no.
Okay.
So to sum up, people left the city, okay, and traffic changed the most rapidly, lifestyle changed the least. I think it's not really good. The second one, overall, the graph suggests the number of people relocating to the countryside rose across the period. Good one. Cost of living was main reason for relocation by some distance. Good one. The main reason. Okay, so cost of living, as you can see, by some reason, that's great. So it's good. And traffic saw greatest overall increase. I think this one is good. I think it's not too mechanical, comparing A. So A is a bit mechanical, as something like, just writing something. I think this one is good. And it mentions key features, great. So I think this one is good. How about 3? This one is awful. The worst conclusion, actually, not only has the candidate included data in their concluding or overview paragraph, but also actually repeats what has already been stated in the main body. So it's awful. So as you can see, numbers, figures, and it's something that we discuss in our main body. So I think this one is the best one. So this one is the best one. About A, if we change, this line, it's something like too basic. And if we don't mention it, so I think this can be a good one, but B is the best. Well, any questions?
No.
Good. Okay, it's your turn. You need to complete actually the sentences with the adjectives in the box. Consistent, highest, lowest, overall, stable, joint, lowest. Okay, let's get started.
One is highest.
Okay, so let's read, yeah. So the highest point, yeah, of course, and